Hey, you know, distractions. Distractions are all over the place. And you know what? We even create our own distractions.
Well, even the second is we were turning on Facebook Live and we're saying hello and we're grateful that we get to grow together and learn together and really do life together and have some fun. And distraction, sometimes it lives in my head. I'm distracted by the next thing I'm going to do.
Yes. Yes, and sometimes you get in your head so you're not present with the person you're with.
Or even with you, right here, right now. It's easy for me, and I'm getting better at it, to forget where I am and start thinking about where I
Decided we talk about this today is there's a lot of talk about distracted driving. You know?
With the cell phones?
With cell phones.
Can you
and
admit
whatever.
that you've been there?
I've been there.
I've been there. I guess we're not supposed to admit that out loud.
Yeah, not anymore though. Because I've seen the results of it.
It's very scary.
And so we don't get on the phone. We use the auto dialer. We use the voice to text and that kind of stuff. So we don't get into that distraction. And even, actually, I would say even talking on the phone, even if you auto dialed it or you dialed it while you're at a stoplight.
It's a bit of a distraction.
It's a bit of a distraction because you're talking, I've missed an exit off of a highway while I'm talking to you. And
always only to me though, right?
Yes, only to you.
Yeah, no,
And the reason we want to bring this up is last week I almost hit a pedestrian.
Almost took the guy out.
It was horrible. And I had to hit the brakes and then I hit the horn and he kind of looked surprised that I was still driving because he thought he had a green light. So we were on
He had a solid red.
Yeah, we're on Colonel By Drive and the left-hand turn lane was stopped. But it was green for the straight through, and young guy probably coming from the university, walking along, talking on his phone, just stepped right off the curb and didn't stop at the intersection at all.
Didn't even see the cars. Didn't even see that there was anybody there.
Yeah, and I was in the big truck.
Yeah.
And so fortunately, actually, I hit the brakes. Where I was only doing about 40 kilometers an hour, so I was able to stop before getting...
It was deep breath moment.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was scary for us, and he barely even noticed when he looked up.
Yep.
Barely even saw that he'd just about been taken out.
So that was our trip on the way down, and then on the way back, I'm driving through the intersection of, what is that? That's Industrial and Riverside.
Does it really matter?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it matters.
It's quite a big intersection, and I'm driving forward with a green light again, and I see a guy turning left off of Industrial onto Riverside Drive against the red light, and he's booking it. And so fortunately, again, I slow down and don't have an alteration. And I don't know, altercation. That's what I'm looking for. That's the word. And so
an alteration of your car.
Yeah, it would have been, and his too. And I'm not sure whether they just didn't observe the light or they were ignoring the light. But the point is, in life, where are we distracted and where are we missing out on things? Because I found, this multitasking thing.
Oh my goodness, multitasking. This is one of our little pet peeves. When somebody applies for a position with the Decker team, which has happened too many times, because there's growth and there's movement, but one of the things that's happened too often is they'll say, I am a great multitasker. And both of us go...
And then the resume goes to the bottom of the pile because we know that there's no such thing as multitasking. There's task switching, and you can be fast at task switching, but you can only do one thing. Even a computer can only do one thing. Actually, now they can do a little bit more because they put in two processors, which means they have two brains. Now they can multitask. But even in the beginning, they were just task switching, and they were fast at it.
Well, and each drive or each brain only does one at a time.
Yes.
So even that, although it's put in one box,
they only recognize a 0 or a 1, so they're binary. They only think one thing at a time. And so our brains are similar.
Well, it's meant to really focus on one thing, and it doesn't mean that we can't do two things at the same time, except we do neither well.
Yeah, like I have a hard time chewing gum and walking at the same time.
How about breathing and walking?
I can do that.
Okay, good.
I can breathe
so what
and
are
run.
those unconscious things? You can do that.
You can do the unconscious things.
Right? And then one focused conscious activity. As soon as you attempt to take on two, even this morning I was on the phone with a client and I was on the computer because we were doing an analysis on what's the place worth that she's thinking she wants to buy, and that's exciting for her. It's going to be a great place for her family. And as I was on there, I said, well, do you want me to go through the analysis right here with you, and then I'll email it to you later? And she said, that would be great. So just by being on the phone and attempting to use the keyboard, the number of times I have to say every time I do that, I'm going to be a little bit slower. I'm going to be a little less capable. I'm going to be a little awkward in doing the search because I'm actually wanting to be present with you, talk to you, and still use the keyboard. If you just let me do the keyboard and do the analysis and there's no one there, I'm pretty good at it. Been doing it for almost 30 years. And if I'm just on the phone, I'm present and I'm with you, and it's great. Doing the two at the same time, even though I've been doing them for 30 years, it's hard. Well, I haven't been doing the computer part for 30 years. We didn't have a computer back that we could use our searches on. We still had this crazy big book that had pictures this big.
That was tougher then. You had to memorize all the inventory. Really.
You really did. Yeah, it was a little insane. Anyway, so let's say for better part of 20 years, we've been using the computer for our searching. And to do two things, even two things that I'm really good at in isolation.
Yeah, and they did a study actually where they took people and they had ones that did multitasking. They said they multitasked well, and they did a study and they gave them all things to do, and then they did one at a time with another group, and the group that did the things one at a time actually produced way more in their hours at work. And so where are you actually being distracted by having too many things to do at once?
Right.
And that's our question today is, you know, for us, if we're doing real estate, for us to do another business at the same time distracts us. But we can time block, and you can time block. And if you time block an hour or half an hour to do a specific item, stop all the interruptions, don't look at your email, don't look at your phone, guaranteed you're going to have way more productivity, you're going to have way more time left at the end of the day to enjoy with family, friends, and relaxing.
Right, and yet there are times where you will want to be maybe allowing yourself to be interrupted. So at the Decker team, we do our utmost to answer every call that comes in. And yet that does mean that if you're doing something else, whether on the keyboard or it doesn't really matter what you're doing, that you're going to be...
You're going to lose a little bit of productivity.
You're going to lose some productivity. And losing productivity to talk to a person, I think is worthwhile. I mean, have you ever attempted to phone a place, almost any place today actually, and it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a half an hour to actually get a human, if you ever get a human on the other end of the line? Meaning get a human voice, you just don't get a human. So we've decided that some things are worth the interruption and the lack of productivity. So we're not saying there's never a place, we're saying calculate it, think about it, ponder it, and decide where are you willing to lose productivity and efficiency, right?
Yeah, and if we're in person speaking with someone, then the phone goes away because the person calling is less important than the person we're in front of. Right. I don't know if you've ever been to a retail place or something, and you're talking to somebody about an appointment or buying something, and the phone rings and they say, excuse me, and they answer the phone. Well, I thought the person in front of them would be more important than the phone ringing. That's what voicemail's for. So anyways, where in your life are you dividing your focus so that you actually produce less and have less free time?
Okay, and then my real question is, and what I want you to comment and write, is where maybe have you been doing that and now you're willing to stay focused? So maybe it's two lists. It's three. Let's go with three. One where, what are you doing that's really creating the unproductivity? So awareness will just help you.
Yeah.
Two, where are you doing that and you know you need to keep doing it, just like we gave you the example of answering the phone and it was a worthwhile and better than the alternative.
If we were just in a task.
Right, if we're in a task. And then third, where will you choose to become intentionally focused on one thing rather than distracted by 2, 3, or multiple
time blocking.
things?
Where are you going to time block specific things in your life?